Okay, so I'll be presenting my research, which has been on acoustics. I've conducted this when I was in my first semester here and also when I was in my second semester here. So the data were gathered from male frogs, from forest ecosystem and karst ecosystem. So forest ecosystem, those areas includes Quezon Land Grant, Laguna Land Grant, as well as the area here in the Malawin Creek. Then for the karst habitats, that was done in Kakupangan Cave in Pangasinan. So this research are part of my special programs in two subjects, so ecology and wildlife, Philippine wildlife. Oh yes, yes, no, wildlife 101. So the organization of the talk is first, I'll be introducing general backgrounds about frog acoustics, then the methods I had employed, the results and avenues for research, especially here for the Philippines. So currently, there are 112 recognized frog species based on the latest list provided by Dr. Arvin Gesmos et al. In group under 9 families. So previously, we only have 8, now we have 9, with the addition of the new species, introduced species. So there is high morphological variation among observed among individuals of the same species. So we can say that for some frogs, there is high level of polymorphism. So it will not be very easy to identify these frogs just by cursory look. So when you look at it, mukha lang sila magkakampa. But actually, upon closer inspection of their morphology, you will definitely identify them as separate species. So acoustic analysis is an important method in the detection and identification of frogs. Of course, taxonomy still relies on morphology, and now we are employing phylogenetic analysis or DNA analysis. But the problem with those is that it's not easily conducted in the field, especially DNA analysis, because you need equipment. Whereas, if you are familiar with frog calls, then you can at least have an idea of what species or what it belongs to. So for instance, here's a group of frogs which are highly polymorphic. So can you guess how many species are there in the picture?
4. 5.
How many? How many species? So just by mere look, it will be very difficult. But actually, there are actually only 3 species there. So the first one is dorsalis and the last one is dorsalis. It's a female and a male. Then Negrosensis, Platymantis negrosensis, and of course Platymantis corrugatus.
Split din.
Magiging 4. Okay, so for frog calls, so the principal mediator of anuran social behavior. So there are several types of frog calls. So the most common one would be for attraction of mate, which we call courtship call. So ito yung usual nating narinig. Then, establishment of territory can be territorial or encounter call. So these are calls produced by males when they are competing for territory. So these are structurally different from the courtship call. Then there are also distress signals. So the first type of distress signal is yung release signal or release call. So these are calls produced by males when they are amplexed by other males. So for example, yung Raineda, iyakap siya ng maraming males, so gusto niya ma-release. So yun, i-release niyang call. So, and one unique thing about release call is that may kasama siyang vibration. So it vibrates when it is amplexed by males. Yung distress call naman, on the other hand, is a call produced by a female frog. Yes, in some cases, female frog calls, but they are very rare. So these are calls na nirelease pag nakagat sila ng kanilang predator. Then reciprocation call is a call which is produced by female in response to a male call. So this is another very rare type of call. So factors affecting frog calls, so this include morphology. So the bigger the frog, the more likely the call will be louder. Anthropogenic noises. So there are studies conducted in other countries whereas frogs were known to adapt their call when there are so many traffic noises or they are near human habitation. So temperature, invasive species. So there are studies in Australia that they found out that Rhinella marina is actually interfering with the mating of the endemic species because of the louder calls. call interference from other species, environmental noise, for example, if they are calling near streams, and then structure of the microhabitat. So for the objectives of my studies, so primarily they detect frog species in the forest and karst areas and record each species calls. So to make a correct correlation between species and their call. Then later to analyze and compare the recorded frog calls from the study areas. Identify the response of frogs when exposed to the calls of another frog of the same species. So this is just an additional experiment of what a frog will do if it was exposed to a playback of its call. And then determine the effect of microhabitat structure on the frog calls. So are there any effect on the structure of the habitat, whether it's open, forest habitat, or cave habitat? So will there be any effect on the call? So for the methods, so of course, identification of frogs, recording of calls. So for the survey, usually I employ visual encounter surveys, then following the calling frogs, and then playback method. So there are two methods I employ when I record calls. So the first one is placing the recorder right next to the calling frog, or not really right next, but close to the frog. So it keep... So that first method will produce a clearer sound because mas malapit ka sa source ng call. So tapos may correlate mo rin kung tama may species sa calls. The second one would be allowing the recorder to record continuously during transect walks. So you just let the recorder on, then it will record any calls that it will detect. So it allows you to detect multiple species in just a shorter period of time kasi hindi mo sila isa-isahin. The challenge of that is pagdating ng analysis, there will be a difficult detection of calls kasi lalo especially kung maingay yung lugar. So here's what I usually do. So wait for the frog to call. Oops, hindi na.
Ano yan?
Pinapatulog yung Sir JC.
Hindi sabay. Bago lang po sa dami ko.
So yun yung ano. I use red light because I found out that frogs will call, kasi usually pag yan yung ma-disturb yung kanyang habitat. But if you use red light, it will call again. Instead of using white light. Because when exposed to white light, hindi na siya ulit mag-call. Or if it will call, it will take a longer period of time. Whereas if you use red light, just a few minutes, mag-call siya. So for the detection of calls, so I use several software. So the first one is Audacity. So primarily I use this for cleaning the records. So to remove the excess noise and to isolate the different calls. So ganito yung kanya output. So I just have to look at those peaks or those pulses to make sure that those are calls. Those on the lower part, this one. So those are just background noises. So for the analysis of calls, a different software is used. So I use Sound Ruler. So it will give you several outputs like that one. The top one is the oscillogram. Then the section oscillogram. These are all visual representation of the calls. So to allow you to visualize how it appears in the software. So then the next one is spectrogram, which is the range of frequencies detected by the call, detected by the software. And then amplitude spectrogram, which is a relationship of amplitude and frequency. So just by looking at this, you can gain several information. For instance, in this third column, this one, so you can already see that there are actually two species calling there. Kasi magkaiba yung kanilang appearance sa spectrogram. So those are actually two species. And then on the left side would be the summary of the output. So nandiyan na yung pulse duration, frequency. So it summarizes up all the data produced by the visual representation. So, components of acoustic signal. So these are the components which we usually analyze. So this includes call interval, the interval between two calls. Call duration, so the length of the call, so from the beginning up to the end, as seen in the oscillogram. Then there are calls which are composed of a single note, just like the top one. And then there are calls that are composed of several notes, so which we call group. So instead of a single note, so there are multiple notes. And then those call group can be divided further into notes, and those notes can be further divided into pulses. So in these regards, there are researchers who actually have different standards with regard to the determination of this. So just like morphometric measurement, so medyo hindi pa siya standardized. So for the results and discussion, so most of the acoustic recordings I have are from Platymantis, 2 invasive species, and 1 and Polypedates. So for the common forest frog or Platymantis dorsalis, which is very common, yun yung pinapanood ni Sir JC. So the call interval is usually, call interval is between 0.44 to 0.81 milliseconds. So ganun lang ka-ikli interval ng calls nila. Then usually ang call duration is very short, 0.03 to 0.07 milliseconds. So the frequency range is between 3.14 to 3.49 kHz, which is normal for frogs because according to literature, frogs utilizes 1 kHz up to 4 kHz, most frogs. But there are frogs that can use ultrasonic sounds, so more than 8 kHz. So narinig niyo na yung call ng dorsalis, hindi na ni Sir. Easy. So the next one would be the diminutive ground frog. So Platymantis mimulus.
Nabuga po, sorry.
So for Platymantis mimulus, so as you can see, the call of Platymantis mimulus is composed of several notes as compared to the single note of dorsalis. So doon pa lang alam mo na kung pagkakaiba ng dalawang species, which is in fact mimulus and dorsalis are almost the same morphologically upon casual look. But if you will record your calls and identify those calls, so you can see the difference. So, hindi mo play yung sounds. So yun yung call niya, tweet. Nasunod-sunod. So, tweet. Actually, yung isa, ek pa nga. Ek. So the call interval is usually longer as compared to that of dorsalis, which is 0.87 to 0.9 milliseconds, and call duration is longer as compared to that of dorsalis, which is usually 0.43 to 0.54 milliseconds. The next one would be rockback forest frog or Platymantis corrugatus. So as you can see, the call is isa-isa lang, parang dorsalis. The difference is that mas maikli ang duration ng call ng corrugatus at mas matagal ang interval. The interval is usually 4 seconds. Ganun katagal ang interval for corrugatus. And it sounds like ek, then stop, then ek, then ek. Hindi kaya ng Platymantis dorsalis, which is tweet.
Bakit pek-pek yung narinig?
Eh, pagka-tit-tit-tit ibon.
Okay, the next one is Luzon forest frog, Platymantis luzonensis. So this one I recorded using yung just letting the recorder play because canopy species to isang call, usually sa mataas. So very difficult makuha yung call niya ng malapitan. But malakas naman yung call niya compared to the other species.
Hindi naman dito.
This is Platymantis luzonensis. So compared to the other Platymantis, so far ito yung pinakamalakas ng records kahit na hindi siya directly malapit sa recorder. At ito sa unique characteristic na it can throw off and its call na hindi, kala mo dun siya, pero wala pala siya ron. So, ganyan siya.
Nakasama.
Ganyan. Malakas kahit na hindi siya malapit. As for the Mimulus, ano ko na? Kasi yun yung Progatus. Medyo matagal yung term niya as compared to the other frogs. Okay, so this one, so common tree frog, so Philippinatus locomistux. So I have a hard time detecting its call. As you can see from the oscillogram, masyadong mahina, saka masyadong maikli yung kanyang call. So just a very short X. And it will never call, again, basta nakadetect siya ng movement or ng light. So yun yung ganyan, pero kaya X. So that's how it looks like. And according to literature, the acoustic signature of this frog merits that this group is actually holding cryptic species. So aside from high morphological variation, there is also high acoustic variation within this group. So it's more likely that the group is actually composed of multiple species, pending for studies.
Sequence.
Then the next one would be an invasive species, which is, of course, you are familiar with. Palula, pulga. The one which sounds like a cow. Yeah. Like that. So as you can see, our endemic frogs utilizes higher frequency, usually between 3 to 4 kilohertz. But invasive frogs like Aluna pulcra utilizes frequency lower than 1. So as you can see here. So unlike our endemic frogs which utilizes higher frequency, invasive frogs usually Then this one, I found recorded this one when I hold a Rhinella marina. So it tries to scare me off. So it was trying to sound a release call. So here's the release call. So as you can see, the release call is very erratic. So irregular interval, irregular frequency. Whereas the mating call, this one, is very regular. Sunod-sunod lang siya. So hindi wala akong recording.
Go, play, go.
So ganyan yung kanyang appearance. Ang mating call usually sustained frequency, sustained duration, whereas a release call usually has that appearance tapos added with vibration. So nagbabibrate siya. Aside from nagko-call siya. So nagbabibrate din. Then I also made a study on the playback method. So playback ko dun sa kanya yung call niya. And to find out kung ano magiging reaction niya. And as you can see, this is the mating call. This one. So that's the single tweet, tweet, tweet. And then this is the response call. So yung response ng male. So instead of a single note, there are 4 notes in close succession. So that's tweet, 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 tweet. Tapos meron siyang parang start ko na. Tapos tweet, 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 tweet. Tweet, 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 tweet. May ganun siyang characteristic. So it is possible that we can generate or detect multiple calls from a single species, depending on the situation na kinabibilangan ng species. So it's not only mating call, but they are also aggression calls. But I only done this with Platymantis dorsalis. I haven't done yet with Nimulus and other Platymantis species. So I also did an effect of habitat structure. So ito yung comparison between sound transmission in an open space, a forest, and a closed space such as a cave. So as you can see, sound components decreases as the area becomes more open. So there's a certain effect as to the transmission of sound in an area. So this has an implication because, for example, Platymantis dorsalis can find itself inside a cave. So magkakaroon siya ng adaptation, or it should adapt its call in order to compensate for the type of microhabitat it is in. So that's the implication of that. And it's also an implication para sa market origins, baka kasi same species pero naiba yung call kasi dahil sa microhabitat structure. So have to be, this is just a preliminary analysis. And it's also only involves one species. So I don't know how about for the other species. So some degrades as the environment become more open and the absorptive cave walls amplify the calls. So forest-dwelling frogs must produce low-frequency sounds while on high perches to reduce sound degradation. So because if the sound becomes degraded, the female will not understand what the male is trying to convey. And then cave-dwelling frogs can produce high-frequency sounds which are more efficient to produce. So there is a compensation between use of high-frequency sound and low-frequency sound. So mas efficient i-produce yung high-frequency as compared to low-frequency. And low-frequency naman, ang advantage niya is that it can be sent through a longer distance as compared to high-frequency call. So as for the conclusion, bioacoustic analysis is a valuable tool for frog detection and identification. So mating calls, distress calls, and aggression calls are structurally different from one another and from and between species. And also the openness of process of a habitat affect frog calls and sound propagation. So I also included here some further avenue for research, especially for Philippine setting, because if I'm not mistaken, very few are working on frog acoustics. So this includes the development of an acoustic library, which is non-existent, or if it does exist, it's not readily available to amateur or students. Then the effect of climate change, which is very obvious, and then noise, anthropogenic, and environmental, and call interference by conspecific and invasive species on endemic species. Because in some studies, yun nga, found out nila na the calls of the invasive actually have an impact on the calls of the endemic frogs, which has implication for their own reproduction. So that's all